beautiful people. This is a woman wiser with Ubuntu. I want us to share the ins and outs of being a human being, just trying to thrive in today's society. You know what I'm saying? And as my co host, I want this to be a conversation. So please do share your thoughts, what you have to add to these topics that we're going to talk about today. And speaking of it, Piki, today we are going to be talking about body image. Yeah. Yikes, body image. So when I think of that word, ne, what comes to mind is essentially the mental picture one has of themselves. Ne? But ubona ntoni esipilini xa ujonge wena? You know, so today I want us to dive straight into it. You know, looking healthy versus being healthy, what social media has done to our self-image and our self-esteem, and just the ins and outs of trying to be positive, right? So yes, I want us to talk about, looking healthy versus being healthy, social media and what it's done to our body image as well as our self-esteem, and just trying to create a better image of ourselves. So let's dive straight into it. Ne? Like I said earlier, I envision a body image to be la picture onayo of yourself, and I have to say, guys, my body image has morphed and twerped crazily throughout the years. I'm still trying to find that 100% confidence within myself, but yeah, it's been a journey. So let's rewind to 12-year-old Buntu, ne? No, even before that. So I grew up quite slender. I was a little bikinini child, just running around like everyone else, enjoying life, Oreos, the good stuff. And then puberty decides to hit around 12. Yeah, 12, 13. And everything is happening. You know what happens to a girl's body in jail, the widening of hips. Now you're starting to gain weight in places that just don't make sense. Now your thighs are rubbing together. Oh, yeah. Some of these experiences are quite triggering to this day. I'm gonna name three, ne? Straight from the jump. Tight, guys. With everything. I mean everything. It's a hot summer's day, you wanna wear a nice short dress, fago tight. You're at church, you're wearing a nice little pencil skirt, fago tight. With everything. Because you don't want those thighs to chafe together, you don't want to get dark in the thighs. So already in the mind was starting to get fixated on these small things about our bodies. A second thing was stretch marks. Now, my 27-year-old self knows that this is such a natural thing that happens to everyone, men included. Have you ever seen them at Jimin and they're just there, just lightning stripes all over? And it's something that's natural that happens to almost everyone, and it's hereditary, by the way. Well, bungayas. But back then it was lightning strikes from hell, dare I say it. And I remember when they first came out on my body, I cried that day. I just felt so ugly, so ugly. And they were these dark, thick purple ones, And I remember just being so confused, trying to figure out what I did wrong to deserve these stretch marks. And there I was having to rub ispiriti on them. Dinukselwa spirit nje ekuseni, imagine. And trying to combat them with every product out there, when a bio oil, the works, and nothing essentially working. So that was also a very traumatic experience. And then thirdly, just being the bigger girl in the classroom, growing up in preschool and primary school, I was always the taller girl or one of the taller girls, but I've never been the bigger girl. So now being that was it made me very self-conscious, it made me aware of my surroundings quite a bit. Now, some of the things I want to mention here today, now I'm gonna sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet. But please know that it's by no means that. I'm just stating the facts. So bendimhle growing up, yabo, bendimhle. And this was something that I could often use to overshadow some of the other insecurities I had, which was that I was bigger, the stretch marks I'm talking about, the fact that I'm doing a bit tired, and you could see like him, Panskwe Skate Sako. And luckily I was able to use that beauty, or what people considered beautiful, to sort of hide and overshadow some of those other things. But those were things that were constantly going on in my head, constantly eating away at my self-image and my self-esteem, and it just sucks that it takes time and, I guess, maturing of the brain to understand oneself and to love oneself a bit more. But there's still struggles that a lot of us women and people in general are going through, and from comparing one another to our parents or our family members having comments about our bodies. They're constantly there, and there are these constant reminders, and it's essentially then up to us to try block them out or deflect them with positive thoughts, and that's such a tall task. That's a lot to ask from someone, but anyway, let's get straight into it, Kene. With those three things in mind, I've already formulated this kind of image of myself. I already know that I'm someone who maybe has to cover up in certain aspects. I'm short in summertime because I've got these stretch marks, because I've got these bigger thighs. And it really then shaped what I viewed as beautiful, because I was told that maybe these things aren't necessarily ideal or desirable. Mhlambi umntana that small shouldn't be having them. I then looked to people who didn't have. And growing up, I was, like I said, the bigger girl in the classroom, but also the bigger girl feminine. I have a family that are just full of petite people. My mother's this short, petite little lady. Her sister's the same. Her brother's the same. My cousin's the same. And it was just always there, that constant reminder, Yobana, you're different, you're different, you're different. So, a topic that I want to touch on now is the effects that family and friends have on our body image. Ne? A bit of a story time. So, went home for the holidays to Eastern Cape, Ekurhuleni, shout out. And, just excited to spend the next 3 weeks with my cousins, just have fun, no school, no homework, the works. But I remember how my psyche was evolving and changing with each December holiday. I found myself then thinking about things and getting anxious about things instead of just being excited to go play, like any child should. And some of these things that caused anxiety was, I'm probably going to get a comment from an uncle or an aunt, oh, I've gained so much weight. Okanye kuzothiwa hayi kaloku wena ukwazi unxiba ushoti like your cousins can because you're different. And it was then that I realized that, oh, okay, I've got this certain sense of myself when it comes to my body and how I view it. Cool. There I was. I'm already building things to say, how to deflect it. I'm already stressing about what I'm going to be eating on holiday. And yani ke, 9 times out of 10, there would be that comment that would arise. And like I said, the beauty was there. So kuzoqala ubana, oh, semhle. Yasibona uba ungakanani ngoku. Oh, semhle. So it is a compliment because the word beauty is there. But enhliziyweni ayimnandanga le nto igqiba especially coming from an elder, someone you love and respect. And obviously, looking back now, I know that it was all out of love. Abanye abantu don't necessarily know better and know how to be sensitive around topics like that. But back then, those were things that were really jarring and really traumatic, and they stay with you. I mean, to this day, ndisayikhumbula laa nto. I won't mention names now. There's no point. There's no point in dragging my family members. But I'm sure you guys have experienced this from a rakhadi, from a me somewhere down the line. But oh, you're packing on a few kilograms. So please let me know if this is something you've also experienced. I'm sure I'm gonna get same sis, same in the comment section. So some of these traumatic experiences, right, that I endured throughout my holidays and upbringing with family have really shaped the way that I do me now. I've had to do a lot of unlearning because I think by the time varsity came around, I was quite rebellious towards a lot of things. That was the time to wear shorts. That was the time to wear crop tops. I was like, the more skin, the better. And that wasn't necessarily maybe a true reflection of myself. I think I was just retaliating because that was a space where no family member was there to sort of have an opinion about how I looked. And it was a big pool where too of abanda baninzi coming from different backgrounds. Everyone's experimenting. Abanye have got this red hair, piercings everywhere, tattoos. So I really did feel safe to experiment there. But the kind of warping and shaping of my body image that childhood experience did was, now I still am conscious when I enter spaces. I still do that comparing of bodies. It's something that I'm still trying to work towards, because I'm gonna be a mother one day, and I don't necessarily want my child to be picking up on things like that. Even though mhlambi, I actively try not to comment about my child's weight or comment about routine, like how they are dressed or the kind of weight that they're on or have. I don't want them to pick up on my habits or the way that I view myself, because I think those are things that we don't necessarily see that we're doing, but it's quite powerful what a child can learn from an adult, especially someone that they really admire, a parent, for example. So even though I'm still gravitating towards loving myself more and embracing the body that I'm in, it is difficult. So, and you could blame me if you're still on that bandwagon of commenting on people's weights when you see them. I would just say be more aware about what it does to that person, because lo mntu, guys, sees themselves in the mirror almost every day. Bias, but they've picked up a couple of kilograms. So you saying it doesn't really add any value or make any difference to their life whatsoever. If anything, it just makes them feel a little bit crap about themselves. All right, so another quick story time, right? When I was 18, I was on an episode of Teenagers on a Mission, not as a presenter, but actually in the episode. And in this episode, we're basically talking about the misconceptions of health, right? And how someone who was bigger or maybe plus size presenting wasn't necessarily unfit or less fit than someone who was slender or smaller in size. So cool, there I was representing the plus size girlies, and I was still tiny, by the way, guys. I think I weighed like 60 something Ks. Like, I considered that quite small. But there I was next to a girl who was weighing maybe like 45 Ks. So, understandably so, why I'm representing that side of the spectrum. So there we were doing obstacle courses, lapo, jumping up and down. And I just so happened to be fitter than the girl, the girl who was representing the slender figures out there. And it really opened my eyes. It started as a favor for a family member, but I was so happy that I did that episode, because I then realized that no, man, it's not necessarily about how you look, you know, especially if you're someone who is following a healthier lifestyle and aiming to be strong. I then started to try change my perception or how I viewed health, because I was someone who did consider skinny to be healthy, and seeing as though I was not that person or struggled to be that kind of person, it did make me feel bad about myself, and it made me feel like, oh, then I'm not good enough. Then I'm go healthy. And then how much worse can packet chips, like I'm not worthy of having low packet chips as someone who is slender would. So I was really happy that I did that episode, because it really then started to change my view of thinking. And I started then approaching health as a means to gain strength, a means to fuel the body with good nutritional food. And I'd have my junk food here and there, because why not? It is nice. But knowing that a balanced, healthy diet is the way to go. And I found that it didn't necessarily do much for Mzimba, did not make me skinny in any way, shape, or form. But when I then go to the doctor for checkups, check inhliziyo, check guys, hi, everything is good, everything is good, everything is good. So I was like, okay, the maths then is mathing. I might not look your fittest, but if my heart rate is like this and my blood pressure is like this and my blood sugar levels are like this, then surely I'm doing something right. So I had to then shift that view. But now, okay, skinny isn't necessarily better, especially in my situation. So I speak about social media and how it's created this polarizing view ngoku because of how we've got these new trends, Ozempic, right? And I was one of the people who was quite opposed to Ozempic because I was shocked. I was like, no, I don't necessarily think weight loss should be this easy drug. As a you lose all this weight instantaneously. But I did my research, I listened to podcasts, and I got more insight into what it actually does and how it can actually benefit umtu who really is in need of it, not these celebrities who want to just drop an extra 10 kilograms, but someone who really is mhlambi at a point where their health is life threatening and they want to better their value of life. So those kind of conversations, are helping me have a broader sense of health and what it looks like. And I want that for you guys as well. I'm sure some of you are already there, but if there are any nutritionists out there, if there are any fitness specialists, please let me know, guys, what your guys' take is on this topic. Because I think also it's nice to hear from Umdu, who kind of has an inkling or some knowledge of this topic. It's just so us and other co-hosts can get a feel of it and get some advice on how to maybe view ourselves a lot better. Because I think there's no use in us feeling bad about ourselves when you're trying to strive for a better us. You know what I mean? I don't want to operate in a place of self hate in any way, shape, or form. Guys can be encouraged while loving my body to be healthier, to be more toned, to achieve as in achieve. But anyway, the next topic. You see how I thought puberty was a ball breaker when it came to my body image. Nothing compared me for the industry. Guys, you just go through so much in your head, through so much. I remember getting a brief this one day and kusitwa mid what early to mid 20s, fit looking or something like that. I was like, what does fit looking look like? Fit looking. And then you just see and this girl's just running and just so athletic and I was like, don't look like that, eh? Don't look like that. So now what? Do I go and audition for the advert, or am I just wasting my time? And it really made me doubt myself, doubt my abilities, even make me question what my agent was doing there, giving me low brief. And it's just those small things that I think, yes, become a conversation outwardly to the society at large, but also have inward conversations about, trying to find a sense of surety within yourself. Yes, but okay, lendo doesn't affect So long story short, I went. Anyway, I was one of the bigger girls in the group. But I was like, yes, I'm going to put my best foot forward. Mhlambi, I'm what they never knew they needed. You never know. And I wish this had a happy ending when I got the ad, but I did not. They probably went with a very fit looking girl. But needless to say, I think we're moving towards a more inclusive society where low fit looking is going to look a bit more diverse. So fingers crossed for a lot. All right, so I just want to expand some more on the social media influences, right, on body image and how, yes, there's a conversation going on online about body positivity, but as it stands, guys, there's a standard of beauty that is out there. A standard of beauty that, if we're being honest, is not as attainable as one might like. So when it comes to Nane, I've put some strategies in place when it comes to what I consume in terms of my social media pages. So, a little backstory. I used to love the Kardashians. I used to watch them, watch their shows the most. Then, when they started becoming moms, and maturing, I started watching it less on television, but I was keeping up with them a phone. I think I followed all the sisters at some point. But then it got to a point where I'm like, and sabukeli nje just to keep up with them. I'm literally trying to keep up with them. And there's no way I can. I don't have that money. I'm not in that environment, that economic environment. And also, I'm not them. More specifically, Ukaili. Kylie Jenner, I think, is around my age, if not a year older. So there I was. I found myself looking through a page. I'm like, okay, like Namdina 25, but Anamdana, Anahandlu, I'm like this, my body is like that. I just found myself comparing every aspect of her life, especially her body, to mine. And I was like, okay, first of all, I'm a black woman. So where do I get off trying to compare myself to this Caucasian lady? But other than that, there are things that obviously are not shown on social media, right? That I think I'm not privy to, or neither, or none of us are privy to. But we still consume this content as if it's factual and it's all there, and then we compare our whole life to as pictures as imbalwa as bona, or videos. And I had to make that drastic decision and unfollow them. It felt so dramatic when I did it. But I realized that for my mental health, it's not going to fly. I can't keep up with them. So I essentially had to back away from the Kardashians. Again, Yawabona here and there. I think even me making that drastic step has allowed me to view them from afar, view their content as what they've intended for it to be, just pure entertainment, pure marketing for whatever it is they're trying to push forward, and nothing of the sort. So, but I need to be like them, or why are you not like them? And there are even South African influencers that are doing the most on our platforms, kwezinsuku, that you just find yourself being like, oh my goodness. And their lives are more attainable because they're South African. But you can't be comparing yourself to Abo Bantu because you don't know baphila ubomi and what it is they have to go through to achieve the things that they have. And I think once it stops being inspiring and influential in a positive way, then I think it's time to take a step back. And speaking of which, the BBL pandemic has hit us, guys. Oh, it's hit us big. It's hit us big time. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. I'm all for umdu doing what they need to do to be happy. I'm all for fulfilling your desires and your wants. But yo, what a scary, scary thing that has stumbled upon us. So the other day, I'm on TikTok scrolling. I stumble upon this page, right? It's sisters. I'm not sure of their names, but one of the girls used to be on Love Island, I say UK. So cool, usister wakhe ke ngoku is breaking down for us, and she's saying that I ruined my body. So obviously that's like shock value. I'm invested. I'm like, what do you mean you ruined your body? Uti ubona's pictures, guys, and you see this body, but you don't see that I'm posing. You don't see that the sun is hitting me right. You don't know the work that I have to put in order to make sure that it's pictures is bad. And then I go home and I look in the mirror, real time, real lighting, and I just do not like what I'm seeing. And Uti, one of the surgeons that she went to in game, was like, the more surgery you get, the more surgery you get. And I'm like, yo, how true is that? How true is that? Because nyan, a procedure enye is very hard to come by. Because especially if it's successful. Let's take a look at if it's successful. What would make you not want to go, hey man, since that worked out so well, let me also just fix this little thing that I have. Let me also fix this little thing that I have. And it's just generating more and more procedures. And it begs the question about when. And it begs the question about when is enough enough? When are you going to look at yourself and be like, I've got it. I've nailed it. I'm 100% the way I want it to be. And the fact that it will never get there, I think is a very scary thought. It's a place where you have to be really, really sure of what you're doing. Because once you're there really is no going back. There are people trying to go to surgery to try correct as into that's happened, but they cannot. I mean, Lucy's ndithetha nayo ngoku, ndithetha ngaye. Her biggest insecurity now are the keloid scars that she's getting all over her body from the surgeries. Uti akakwazi nonxiba bikini out in public anymore because of the scars under her breasts, because of the scars by her tummy line, her bikini line from the tummy tuck, and how they heal. They heal dark, and Yo, I was really affected by what she spoke about because I think she's one of the very few people that I've heard speak about a surgery pandemic and plastic surgery in that light. And I don't necessarily think she was trying to scare anyone, but she was just trying to share her experience because more times than not, we are given the benefit, the beneficial part of a surgery and what it looks like, and we are not given the downsides so that we do make low informed decision instead of being like, I that's done, she looks great, I want to go get that surgery. Know the consequences of that action. Bana, the healing period is like this. Abanye don't even know how to sit for weeks, from getting a BBL. With all this being said, which is an anti-jaji, and I know that I'm coming from a place of privilege because, if you've seen my Instagram pages or pictures where I've posted more full body images, I do necessarily fit a certain beauty standard or stereotype when it comes to the ideal body. So I'm very aware of that. And even with this conversation that I'm having now, I'm just inciting some of the things that I've seen off of social media, my own experiences, get because even though you might have your ideal body type, you don't know what they go through mentally and the insecurities that they might have, which is the topic that's coming on next. So yes, I do want to make that very, very clear. So with that being said, I want to twist it, put a little positive note in this one. Please tell me what your favorite body part is. Could be your arms and how long they are, or your back. For me, it's my back. Personally, I love my back. It's always got my back. Sorry, I was so corny. I had to throw it in there. Um, yeah. So I think let's balance out all this negative talk with a bit of positivity. Please let me know what your favorite body part is, what makes you look in the mirror and be like, yeah, I got it, or I'm really happy with myself. Because I think we also need to push that, the positivity, the positive train. And just like that, we're moving on to the next topic, which is insecurities. So I know that this is something that everyone has and everyone experiences. I think it's just that humbling factor that Utitlo put in our brains, just to make sure everyone is not walking around all pompous and extra, arrogant about themselves. So with that being said, though, I think it shouldn't necessarily run our lives or dictate the way we view ourselves or others. Abantu often say that you're projecting, or I can tell that what you're doing, it's a you problem that you're putting onto me. That's coming from a place of insecurity, what they're talking about. Because those who project them doing me. Plan be worn by someone who's bigger than you, for example, is rocking that body, wearing something a bit more revealing, something that you would feel so scared to wear. But instead of being like, hey, okay, maybe if she can do it, maybe I can, you're so quick to judge. Okanye uthi, you, I'd never do that. Okanye, uthanda uzihlaza, into ezinjalo. And I've been someone who's conditioned themselves so much to be sensitive towards other people, the way they view themselves. I don't necessarily lie. Like if you don't look cute, I'm not gonna say you look cute, but I'm definitely not gonna say you look ugly. Do you know what I mean? Because what does that serve? What does that serve? So for all the people out there, especially with comments, guys, especially with comments where no one can see you face to face or see the words come out of your mouth, please be careful about what you actually share online. The comments that you have to say about Abantu, because it really does hurt people's feelings and widespread hate. Why? When we're all about love. I love how this is such a kumbaya moment. Because I like tie-dye shit. But I'm really, really serious, guys. It really serves no one when you're not gonna be full of love and full of light. Because I asked my Ganjani to get that kind of feedback, especially when you're not looking for it. So back on insecurities, I want to share a bit about mine. Like I said, this is a safe space, so I think I can do that. I do present as someone who's confident. I mean, I have to be. I'm an actor, I'm a presenter. There's a lot that comes with this and a lot of work that's been put into it. But like I said, everyone has insecurities. So mine, for example, I remember this one time I'm going through Facebook and this is just after Onontle premiered Good Generations The Legacy. My character, by the way. And I remember I was being compared to one of the other ladies on the show. Beautiful, beautiful girl. Don't get me wrong. She's gorgeous in her own right. And they were saying that, oh, this girl versus Nontle, right? I won't mention the girl. There's no need because we don't want to go revive that comment on the socials. So they were like, Nontle versus this girl. Yeah, she's cute, but na. They mentioned something that I guess they don't like about her physique or her body. And then they're like, yeah, Nontle has a better this, but her nose is big. Guys, I've never in my life thought I had a big nose until that day. And you know when you stare at the mirror, come on, Yani? Mhlawumbi. Hey, maybe. There I was picking at it, and just like that, a new insecurity formed. So I'm still trying to unlearn that one. I'm still trying to unlearn it, especially when I'm there in the moment performing. It's very hard to also try think of these things, you know. They shouldn't even be in the thought process when you're in the moment and performing, but I guess that's how powerful insecurities can be. As in my feet. Oh my gosh. This one I blame my mom. Yes, I blame you, Mara. I blame you, Jakfaka. I'm throwing you under the bus. She was like, oh, you're so cute with your little chubby feet. And when you hear the word chubby, doesn't spring butterflies and roses and sun in your stomach. It doesn't. It makes you rethink. It makes you be like, what's going on? Chubby, really? And then I go to the beach this one December and I'm stepping on the sand. And you know that little cute footprint you see, ne? That even makes it to wallpaper sometimes. Oh, my feet was not that. I'm flat footed, so you can imagine little dapper is sanding. And I'm like, oh, this is what my mom was talking about. New insecurity unlocked. Guys, I could go on and on and on. The dark circles under my eyes, around my mouth, the pits, my small forehead, how my forehead comes out. I don't know if you guys can see how it protrudes. The list goes on. And I think the more people bring things up, the more you can internalize them and make them true about yourself. But I think what I've also now learned, especially with age, like I mentioned earlier, it just sucks that these things have to come with age and getting older. But I realized they don't stop me from being beautiful on the inside or the outside, you know? And I think when you can manage the things you can control, like being a good person, being kind, being good to others, being confident in yourself. When you can master those things, there's nothing anyone can ever do or say to you, you know? I want to also speak about a positive thing that I've seen online. I'm sure you guys are aware of Lizzo. She's an artist. It's about that time. Yes, she's a singer, right? American singer. And she's plus sized. That woman is so beautiful. So, so gorgeous. Please give me a thumbs up if you agree. But the kind of positive representation that she has or that she gives out is something that I really, really aspire to do, you know? She she creates normalcy in being plus size. It's not at the forefront of any of her content, but at the same time, it's not something that's shied away from, you know. And I think that's such a beautiful balance that she struck because when you normalize seeing something a specific way, it's no longer jarring, you know. It's like seeing a plus size woman as a starring in a a rom com. Yes, first few seconds you're gonna be like, oh, she's bigger than the other people that I've seen before. But once you see it more often, this is something that's going to be part of the medulla. You're going to be like, oh, okay, here's a lady who's seeking love. Let me watch the movie. So shout out to you, Lizzo. I really, really admire that kind of positivity that's being put forth. And she is also on a journey of bettering herself. Like, she's a vegan, she's trying to eat healthy, she's exercising. So, and by no means is she promoting being obese or an unhealthy lifestyle. She's showing that you can be achieving good for yourself while your body looks like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So shout out to you and shout out to all the plus size ladies out there who are doing just that, promoting positivity in a healthy and responsible way. And Lastly, guys, let's break that cycle. Speaking of all Lizzo who are doing just that, I want to talk about breaking the cycle. So let it be a little task for you and I, or a piece of advice from me to you, or a question that I have that I'd like for you to answer. The question being, what are you doing to break low cycle of this ideal standard of beauty, or how are you promoting positive body positivity, positive body image for the people around you? Maybe you have nieces and nephews who are still growing up looking up to you. It may not be a responsibility, but it is something that will inevitably happen because abantu abancinci do look up to us older people. So what is it that you are doing in your community, even in your household? Maybe you have a younger sibling. If you're a mother, how are you promoting a positive body image? And my advice would be, if you aren't, why not start today? It's as small as you accepting yourself for you loving the bits and pieces that maybe you didn't necessarily like or like to bash yourself about. And in turn will help you embrace abanya bantu instead of looking down on them. One thing that I'm doing, it's just that, guys. I'm looking in the mirror, I'm looking at that nose, and I'm like, you a cute little nose. You the perfect size for that face. And sometimes it feels like a lie, but at some point it's going to become true again. Because at some point it was not a fact that I had a big nose. So we're trying to go back to that. And like I said, I'm being extra sensitive to people's journeys. If someone brings up weight, yeah, let's talk about it. But I'm not someone who's going to greet someone by, oh my gosh, you've gained some weight. That's not a greeting. That's not how you greet someone. You say, hi, how are you? FYI, okay? But I really hope that you guys enjoyed today's topic. Please let me know if there's anything that I've missed out, something that you want to add in when it comes to body image. But Nana, remember, this is a discussion, and we're definitely going to have it back and forth sooner rather than later. So don't be shy. Get in on those comment sections. Masingcoleni, guys. But this was Woman Wiser talking about body image with Ubuntu. I love ya. Bye.